Starting from there, you're watching what we call the political landscape of northern Uganda. I'm pretty sure you're watching it. From your observation as a veteran leader, but a leader who hails from this region, who has been there, what do you observe?
What interests me most is the state of Uganda, the country Uganda. Then within that, we can look at particular regions. Unfortunately, today as we speak, Uganda is one of the countries with the widest disparities within society. If we look and measure horizontally, that is to say, as between districts and regions, the disparities are massive. If we change and measure vertically, that is to say, as between those who are very well off and those who are at the bottom of the heap, the disparities are breathtaking. There are those whose command of resources know no bounds, money is no object, and then there are those who are scrounging for survival. They have nothing at all. So the first thing to say is we need to do some soul searching. We need to recommit ourselves to build a society, a nation that is inclusive, where everybody feels a sense of belonging, whether in terms of your social standing, your social place within the strata, or which region or part of the country you come from. We are not there. That is the most important single failure we have in the country today.
Ambassador, do you think with that failure, what of the leadership of the upcountry, especially in the north of the country, if you look at it, do you think they're playing a part in what we see now in the region? Because there's so many things that are going on. I know you're pushing on some of the agendas to push certain narrative and changes in the region. Do we have that bit of leadership to push?
Many things are going on, but the most important thing to note is that in our recent history, a good portion of northern Uganda suffered disproportionately from the episodes of upheaval. During the Idi Amin era, Acholi and Lango suffered disproportionately. The war that began in 1986 and lasted for 20 years, the north, especially parts of Teso, the whole of Acholi and parts of Lango, suffered disproportionately. In the case of Acholi land, this particular region, apart from the war between government forces and the LRA, and also the taking of livestock en masse, there was also the internment of the entire society in camps for more than 20 years. So these developments, this episode has left a huge toll. That is very particular, very specific, and needed intervention that was targeted to respond to this particular situation, which intervention we have not had.
Ambassador, I think the narrative, the opinion that we have had war, the president recently said we need to get out of the hangover of the war. Luero sub-region, Masaka sub-region has had this kind of wars also. We seem to bend our beliefs and our problems to the war, yet we are past the war, probably with 10 years, Ambassador.
You can pass a war after 50 years, after 60 years. If you've not addressed the impact of the war, it'll continue to simmer and get deeper. That is why after World War II, the U.S. that had participated at the forefront of causing destruction in Germany and in Japan was the first to step forward and say, we need a special plan to reconstruct Europe and to reconstruct Japan, the Marshall Plan. That is what made it possible for Germany and Japan to become today leading economies in the world. Something was done in a very targeted way and proportionate to the damage that had been caused during the war. The point I'm making is that here in northern Uganda, especially in Acholi land, nothing has been done to respond to the incredible trauma, dislocation, and collapse which was caused both during the Idi Amin period, but particularly in the period 1986 to 2006-2007.
Let's just conclude in 30 seconds.
Well, in the 30 seconds, let me say this. Let me quote. I have a message for Mr. Museveni. On the 3rd of September last year, he came to my hometown, Gulu. He was addressing a special gathering put together by Pastor Patience Rwabuogo. It was a convention. And he said this: as the top leader of the NRM, I am here to take full responsibility for all the mistakes which were made here. Forgive our failures and mistakes, which have resulted in so much poverty and suffering for the people of Acholi. We are here to acknowledge those mistakes. For this we ask for forgiveness. And he then concluded with a special prayer for Acholi land. Okay. But since the beginning of September last year, we have heard nothing subsequently. We had hoped that after this there would be some very concrete, some very consequential and serious action of redemption and redress. We haven't heard that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ambassador Olaratuni, for speaking to us this evening from your home in Gulu. We definitely appreciate your time.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for listening to this.
Thank you. Again, Karen, you've heard from the Ambassador himself. The hangover of the war still haunting us. It's something that we need to pick from, and as a region, try to do better as a sub-region on the issues that have been raised over and over again. Back to you, Canary.